I'm Marty Stouffer. Wildlife, like all living things, has three basic needs: food, water, and shelter. No matter where you live, your own backyard can provide for these needs. Nature's patterns are endlessly fascinating. Any kind of wildlife, from the smallest insect to the most common cottontail, is thrilling to watch and will quickly draw you into the drama of the natural world. Whether you have a home in the country or an apartment in the city, you can create an environment that will bring hours of satisfaction as you begin attracting wildlife. There's something captivating about watching wild creatures in their natural habitats. A pine grosbeak deftly separating seeds from a cone. A family of raccoons searching a shoreline for food. A broad-tailed hummingbird guarding a brood of newly hatched nestlings. A graceful white-tailed doe. As amazing as it seems, these wondrous sights are only minutes away from our largest cities. By the year 2000, nearly half of the world's human population will live in urban areas. With our help, hundreds of species of plants and wild animals will live there too. By making it easier for wildlife to flourish, we can enhance our own environment.
Hey, Ducky.
In the broadest sense, we attract wildlife when we toss food to birds in the park. Little expense is involved. Some leftover bread is all that's needed.
Here's what you want.
For you. Now you.
This simple way of introducing children to the wildlife around them will teach them a lifelong appreciation of the natural world. The joy of feeding even common birds can awaken the child in all of us. Like more than 60 million Americans, you may want to go one step further and attract birds to your own backyard. In this case, you'll need to stock up on bird seed.
Jump on in the car. Let's head on home.
If you're like most birders, you'll eventually join the ranks of the bulk seed buyers, like my brother Mark, his son Cole, and daughter Casey.
Many different kinds of food. Look at this. Let me give you an idea what this is. These are black-striped sunflowers. They're very popular. The birds really like these. Finches and sparrows and doves and grosbeaks and chickadees, cardinals, everything likes these. But even more popular than these are these things. They're called oil or black sunflower seeds. All kinds of birds like these. They're just like their favorite food, especially cardinals and chickadees and grosbeaks and finches. Now these are hulled oats. They're like the oats that we have in the morning before they get rolled flat. They aren't as wild about these as they are some of the other seeds, but they like these and they're really good for them. This is probably the best overall food. It's a mix of all kinds of stuff and all kinds of birds like this. Look, it's got red and white and golden millet in it. It's got sorghum in it. It's got cracked wheat and sunflower seeds. And this is like that same kind of stuff, all mixed up. And this is a special food for doves and pigeons. See, it's got these big soybeans in it, and it's got whole kernels of corn, and it's got wheat in it, and it's just got everything. It's a special kind of food that's made especially for doves and pigeons. And you know what we're going to do? We're going to get ready to feed the birds. You hold that, and then you hold that. Take the top off, and we're going to get all ready to feed the birds. You hold that one right there, okay? Hold it in your lap right there. The first thing we'll do is we'll give them a little treat of sunflower seeds at the bottom.
Mark's wife, Debbie, is
Okay.
also a wildlife enthusiast.
Feeder, big feeder. Here, Casey, hand me that.
Different species of birds have different feeding habits. Some smaller birds like to perch while they eat. The tube feeder is a good choice to attract them. But other birds may prefer a platform like this one to sit on as they feed.
Some in the front, too.
Mark and his family have been lucky enough to attract band-tailed pigeons. This shy forest dweller is slowly adapting to life in suburbia. Some birds, like the pine siskin, go crazy over thistle seed. Once the siskins have found your feeder, you can expect a flock of them to provide hours of entertainment as they flit around competing for a perch. The specially designed thistle feeder has narrow vertical slits that replace the holes found in a standard tube feeder. The select clientele that regularly flock to thistle feeders include goldfinches, house finches, purple finches, and in winter, common redpolls. If you live in the country or even in less populous suburban areas, birds might not be the only wild creatures that can be attracted to your backyard. Providing the necessities of food, water, and shelter is still the key. The bold bandit face and alert expression are trademarks of the nocturnal raccoon. Few mammals in America are more recognizable. This adaptable opportunist can survive almost everywhere and eat nearly everything. In this case, the raccoon feeding program has gotten out of hand. Too much of a good thing can be bad for wild animals. Encouraged by their human benefactors, these raccoons have overpopulated their environment. Aggressiveness and disease can be the unpleasant result. Try not to go overboard in your enthusiasm for attracting wild creatures. Respected wildlife rehabilitator Dave Sidden has nursed many animals back to health in and around his home in southern Oregon.
Well, here in Oregon, we have many opportunities to attract wildlife to our property. For instance, we have a couple of fawn deer. These are yearlings that have become quite habituated to feeding in the back of our property. We believed these fawns were orphaned, and that's why they were having a hard time foraging on their own. And once we get them through the winter months, we will reduce the feeding schedule, and they will gradually become wilder and wilder and less habituated to humans. We try to feed these animals supplementarily to keep them in good health. These guys have actually become so tame I can touch them. Now, we wouldn't do this if they were in an area where they could be hunted or they become a problem for other humans. This is a closed area. There's no hunting in this. It's private property. So we are able to get them somewhat habituated to humans without actually taming them.
We can increase the chances for wildlife to flourish in our suburban environments if we remember to create a natural habitat which always includes the three basics.
This is another way that we can help the birds to want to come into our yard. Casey, why don't you come up here? You can see. Okay, Cole, hop up there. First, we'll sort of clean this out a little bit and put it back.
It might be as simple as putting out water in a shell,
Go take a bath here?
or as complex as creating your own backyard wildlife habitat.
I think they'd like to drink it, yes.
Paul and Katie Creer and their son Duncan have done just that. In their California neighborhood, there was no water source for wildlife for half a mile, so the Creers built one, a small backyard pond. Paul selected a sunny spot to install a solar collector, which powers a waterfall pump. The constant exchange of fresh water for standing water keeps the pond free of stagnation. An aerator was installed to add extra oxygen to the water for the fish and frogs. They planted reeds, ferns, flowering grasses, and black bamboo to make the area more appealing for animals.
Hand me the hyacinth.
Floating plants like water lilies were added to cut down on the amount of sunlight invading the pond. Sunlight stimulates the growth of algae, the #1 enemy of a healthy pond.
It'll make a nice shelter for the fish.
Animals like alligator lizards and sagebrush lizards were added. Frogs became a part of the pond ecosystem. Fish were introduced, not just for aesthetic reasons, but to feed on the mosquito larvae, which commonly live in small pools. The project completed, the Creers wait to see what other creatures will arrive at their personal wildlife oasis. Their backyard adventure is only beginning. On a truly grand scale, Dave Sidden and local volunteers have built a small lake for the purpose of rehabilitating injured wildlife.
Well, the water has helped quite a bit out there because we've got some great blue herons that come in. We've had killdeer out there. We have a lot of wood ducks that come in. And there's several Canada geese that fly in all the time. One morning we had 30 of them out there.
When we acquired this property 8 years ago, there was no facility at all for waterfowl. We would get quite a few injured geese and ducks in here, even some grebes and loons. And so one of our goals, once we acquired enough funds, was to actually build our own pond so that these birds that came in with broken wings and gunshot wounds or had been hit by cars could recover in a natural area where they could swim, not be confined to some small pen.
Yeah, we have a group of Girl Scouts locally that want to come out and landscape around the pond and learn about habitat, because what we're trying to do is improve the habitat. There's a beaver out there and there's a muskrat, and we'd like to try to get them to stay. That's why we want to do the planting out there and put in things that they like. We're going to be putting in a lot of cattails and rushes and sedges and berry-producing shrubs, trees. It's a very long-term project. It's going to take quite a bit of time and energy, and we're just real lucky that they've offered to do it.
I came out here because I like animals, and we wanted to help them, like, have a place to live and hide away from their enemies.
Hundreds of volunteers have given many hours to make a special protected place for wild animals.
Okay, now you hold the birdhouse and I'll put the perch on. Okay. That way when the bird comes up and lands, he'll have somewhere to stand before he goes inside. Why do you think we're building this birdhouse?
Birds need to lay eggs and have babies, and because they need because people keep on cutting down trees that they live in.
Well, right. A lot of birds, not all birds, but a lot of birds live in dead trees, and they can't build their own homes. They depend on holes that they find in dead trees, and people have been cutting down a lot of the dead trees in the woods and cutting them up and using them for firewood in their homes. So that makes it necessary sometimes for people to go out and make homes for birds. And this will be a home that will replace one of the holes that came down with an old dead tree somebody cut for firewood. Do you like it?
Mm-hmm.
You ready to go hang it?
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's go. Okay, carry it on in on that side of the ladder over there. Okay, you go on up. I'll hold the birdhouse. Put the hook in up there. You got to get it up there high because there's a lot of raccoons and possums and cats that would scare the birds that might want to live in this if it was too low to the ground. But you get it up there high enough and they feel safe. Oh yeah, that looks great. You like it?
Mm-hmm.
Come on down.
Elaborate houses can attract birds like these beautiful purple martins. They're the largest members of the swallow family. Multi-story avian apartment houses encourage communal nesting by the gregarious martins. In the West, martins prefer to nest in tree cavities excavated by woodpeckers, but in recent decades, aggressive European starlings have evicted the martins from much of their home range. For hundreds of years, American Indians hung hollowed-out gourds around their encampments in hopes of encouraging martins to nest. The martins, no doubt, helped to control insect populations around the villages. To this day, the purple martin relies on man for housing. In return, they give us the pleasure of their company. Martins aren't the only birds that count on humans for shelter. In many parts of the United States, bluebird nesting boxes have been erected. The bluebird nesting program has been successful in helping to reestablish dwindling bluebird populations. Another species which profits from the nest box program is the smallest of our falcons, the kestrel. Oregon Department of Fish and Wildlife officers make annual checks of the boxes to see which bird species have taken up residence. Kestrels and others, like bluebirds, can't excavate their own holes. Traditionally, they relied on old woodpecker holes in dead snags. Now many of these dead trees are gone, felled for firewood. Lost homes are being replaced with man-made shelters. These tiny kestrel chicks will soon join their parents, testing their wings as they hover and dive for insects and small prey. Winter, a somber season brightened by colorful non-migratory birds. Food is scarce, and attracting wildlife can be easier. Even wary birds drop their guard and venture closer to humans. Suet is a special favorite, helping to add fat to the diet of winter birds like nuthatches and woodpeckers. Beef suet is preferred, but any fat you've been saving can be put to good use as the basis of a tasty suet concoction. Mixed with peanut butter, sunflower seeds, honey, and other high-energy foods, it can help the birds survive a harsh winter. Sometimes we forget how important water is, particularly in the winter. Man-made pools, kept open even in the coldest weather, are critical. The food we put out for birds has the sometimes mixed benefit of attracting other creatures. Squirrels and even rabbits are drawn to the spilled seed. This can create problems unless certain steps are taken. Bold, clever, and athletic, squirrels have an uncanny ability to raid the most carefully squirrel-proofed bird feeder. But a few new designs seem to be working, at least for the moment. The adjustable counterweight bird feeder has a perching platform for birds that drops down when a heavier critter like a squirrel jumps on it. A shield seals off the seed supply and foils the perplexed squirrel. Since squirrels are often responsible for reforestation, I don't try to discourage them altogether. They're as much of a joy to watch as are birds.
Come on. Here you go. Get a peanut. Atta girl. Come on, get a peanut. Hurry up. Come on. There we go.
As we extend our highways, enlarge our cities, and turn the land to our use, wildlife habitat decreases at an alarming rate. So your efforts to provide for the needs of wild creatures become more and more critical. The growing things you plant will beautify your own habitat and increase its value, and they'll bring the peace and harmony of the wild more directly into your life. Whether you set out a bird bath or create a whole series of ponds, you'll also be inspiring others to enjoy the many pleasures of attracting wildlife. I'm Marty Stouffer. Until next time, enjoy our wild America.